Moses Malone is a three-time MVP, an NBA champion, and he dominated the NBA. But for some reason, Moses Malone always gets left out of the top 5 center conversation. When people mention the greatest centers ever, they always say the same names: Wilt Chamberlain, Shaq, Kareem, Hakeem, Bill Russell. And don't get me wrong, those are all great centers, but somehow Moses Malone's name always gets left off.
Well, to give you an idea, he's a 3-time league MVP. And he won it in back-to-back seasons. Chamberlain, Jabbar, Russell, and George Mikan at the big are the only guys who can say that they've won it more. And he was an all-league defender, so he played on both sides of the ball. To give you an idea of how good he was, he went 25-14 for 8 straight seasons. Jabbar and Chamberlain are the only other 2 guys who can say that they've done that. But he's not talked about as much because it was rugged. It was dirty. He didn't have the dream shake like Olajuwon. He didn't have the sky hook like Jabbar. He didn't run like a deer like David Robinson. It was rugged. It was rough. But it was efficient. That's why he's underrated.
Let's really look at what Moses Malone did. He's a 3-time MVP. That alone puts him in elite conversations. He won a championship in 1983 with the Philadelphia 76ers. And not only did he win, that was one of the most dominant seasons of all time. This is the same run where he famously predicted 4-4-4, basically saying they sweep everyone. They didn't sweep every series, but they came close and dominated the entire postseason.
First time he came into New York, and they asked me to introduce him. So, I just stood up, got the microphone, and just started talking. I think I said something to the effect of, all right, now that you're in pro basketball, you've been swimming in the water with these little fish, dominating them. Now the fish are bigger. Are you ready to jump into the pond? Something corny like that. And you know how Moses was. I'm ready, man. Just give me the ball. And that day, I think he had 20-something rebounds, because we played them. And he was with Utah, 19 years old. And I didn't know that down the road we would be teammates. But when we got the opportunity to get him in Philadelphia, as you know, our record was going to the finals 3 times in 6 years and coming away empty-handed. When we got the opportunity to get Moses, because he was disgruntled, it just changed everything. And I think from day one, Maurice Cheek says it best. He said from day one in practice, he said, I knew we were going to win the championship. Just the first practice. Because this man, when he showed up for practice, he was already sweating. I didn't even want to get near him. We used to laugh about that.
Moses Malone led the league in rebounds multiple times and widely considered one of the best rebounders of all time. Night after night, he controlled the paint.
From 1981 to 1983, Moses Malone was the most destructive player in the NBA, and it wasn't even close. Over that span, he was putting up 28 and 15 on 52% from the floor, and in the playoffs was 26 and 15 on 49% from the floor. In 1981, the Rockets only won 40 games, ranked 16th out of 23 teams for defense, and had a poor offensive supporting cast, but Moses took them to the finals. In the first round, he matched up with the reigning MVP Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he averaged 31, 18, and 3 on 51% from the floor to cruise past the reigning champion Lakers. In the second round against the Spurs, he averaged 28, 12, and 2, and then 27, 15, and 1 against the Kings in the conference finals. They'd lose the finals to the Celtics, and despite the Rockets shooting 38% from the floor for that series, they won 2 games off of Moses being completely unstoppable, primarily on the glass, averaging 22 and 16 on the series. In 1982, he'd win the MVP, averaging 31, 15, and 2, and even though he'd averaged 24, 17, and 2 in the playoffs, the Rockets got bounced in the first round by the Supersonics. He'd get moved to Philly in the offseason, and the Rockets went from a 46-win team with Moses to a 14-win team without him. Without Moses, the Rockets had a negative 11 net rating, which is in the top 10 worst ever, and had the worst offense in the league, which was also the 14th worst ever. But Philly became unstoppable. Moses averaged 25, 15, and 1, won the MVP, and also made the all-defensive first team. Against the Knicks in the first round, Moses averaged 31, 16, and 2 with 4 stocks. Moses averaged 22, 14, and 1 the next round against the Bucks, and then they'd sweep the defending champion Lakers, with Moses averaging 26, 16, and 2 with 4 stocks on 54% from the floor, and of course he claimed the finals MVP. In 1983, Moses had one of the 10 greatest seasons in league history, and he's still the greatest offensive rebounder ever.
So again, with a resume like that, how isn't he automatically in top 5 conversations? I think it comes down to a few reasons. First, he wasn't flashy. He didn't have the highlight dunks like Shaq or the smooth footwork like Hakeem. His game was about effort, position, and straight dominance off the boards. Second, timing. He played in between eras, after Wilt and Kareem's peak and before the Jordan era fully took over, so he kind of get lost in the middle of basketball history. Third, personality. Moses wasn't loud, wasn't in the media, and didn't build a big narrative around himself. And in today's world, narratives matter. But here's where it gets interesting. When people rank centers, they automatically put those 5 ahead of them. But when we break it down, Moses Malone has more MVPs than Shaq and Hakeem. He dominated his era just like others did, and his impact on winning, especially in 1983, was undeniable. So the real question is, are we ranking based on skill and dominance, or are we ranking based on popularity and highlights? Because if we're being honest, Moses Malone has a real argument to be in the top 5, or at the very least, his name should be mentioned a lot more. So I want to hear from y'all. Is Moses Malone a top 5 center of all time, or is the position too stacked? Get in the comments and give me 5 centers that you believe is above Moses Malone. But I thank y'all for going down NBA history with me. I am Mega. I'm up out of here.